Good morning, students. I am Tejinder Singh Sabarwal from ICE College of Hotel Management. Today, we are going to learn another very important concept in wine production and labeling vintage wine. Students, when we talk about wines, we often hear the word vintage again and again. But what does vintage actually mean? Today, we will understand this important term vintage wine. 1. What is a vintage? Vintage simply means the year in which the grapes were harvested. If a wine bottle shows vintage 2018, it means the grapes were harvested in the year 2018. A wine made entirely from grapes of one single year is called a vintage wine. हिंदी में समझें, विंटेज का मतलब है जिस साल अंगूर तोड़े गए हों वही उसका विंटेज ईयर। अगर बॉटल पर लिखा है विंटेज 2020 तो इसका मतलब है कि सारे अंगूर 2020 में ही तोड़े गए थे। जो वाइन एक ही साल की फसल से बनी हो उसे विंटेज वाइन कहते हैं। 2. Why is vintage important? Climate variation. Every year the climate changes. Some years are warmer, some cooler. This affects grape ripeness, acidity, sweetness, and flavor. Quality indicator. Some years produce exceptional grapes. Wines from such years are considered superior vintage wines. Collector's value. Great vintages become expensive and are highly valued by collectors. Aging potential. Good vintage wines can age longer and develop complex flavors. 3. What makes a year a good vintage? Perfect balance of sun and rain, healthy disease-free grapes, warm days and cool nights, timely harvest, no storms or frost during growing season. When nature supports the vineyard, the result is a high-quality vintage. 4. Vintage versus non-vintage wine. Vintage wine, made from grapes of one specific year. Example, vintage 2017 Cabernet Sauvignon. Non-vintage NV wine, made by blending grapes or wines from multiple years. Common in sparkling wines like champagne. Why blend? To maintain consistent flavor every year. 5. Examples of vintage wines. Vintage port, vintage champagne, rare and only in exceptional years. Vintage Bordeaux, vintage Barolo, vintage Napa Cabernet Sauvignon. These wines are often aged for many years before drinking. 6. How to identify vintage on a bottle. Look for the year printed on the label, usually written near the grape variety or region. Example, Chardonnay 2019, Merlot 2021, Shiraz 2018. If no year is written, it is generally non-vintage. 7. Practical classroom explanation. Students, imagine two wines from the same vineyard. One made during a perfect sunny year, ripe, sweet grapes. Another made during a rainy year, diluted, less ripe grapes. Both will taste different. This difference comes because the vintage year matters. So students, vintage is not just a number on the bottle. It represents the climate, the harvest, and the quality of that particular year. A good vintage can make a wine more valuable, more flavorful, and more age-worthy. In our next class, we will learn about another key topic, terroir and its influence on wine quality. Thank you, students. I am Tejinder Singh Sabarwal, ICE College of Hotel Management. Have a wonderful learning day.